So today we're picking up the discussion on intermittent fasting from where we last left and diving right back into its effectiveness. Does intermittent fasting help with fat loss and blood sugar control? Now, if you haven't watched the first part, do check it out. Now, I've also put the link of it in the description box for you. Hi folks, Shahzadi here. Welcome back to my channel, Desi Licious Den, Dietitian on Demand, where I share diet and wellness advice that cuts through the nutritional noise and serve up healthy, Desi Licious recipes so you can be on top of your game. Here you'll access free recipes, nutrition and wellness videos to inspire health whenever, wherever. I hope that all of you are keeping healthy. Okay, so let's answer more of your questions in detail, backed by science and research, shall we? Is intermittent fasting effective in weight loss? Now, if weight loss is a goal, then science suggests that intermittent fasting is as effective as other low-calorie diets. However, I think the bigger question is whether intermittent fasting is sustainable in the long term. Our body weight often fluctuates circumstantially, and I'm a firm believer in making positive health changes that are realistic, enjoyable, and viable to improve our overall quality of life. After all, if you can't stick to a particularly healthy way of eating for the long haul, then it might not be the right one for you. Although intermittent fasting is seemingly more appealing in terms of losing weight, research conducted on it isn't long enough for us to gauge whether people are able to stick to the diet in the long run in comparison to other low-calorie diets. Does intermittent fasting help with fat loss? Yes, according to research, intermittent fasting can help reduce body fat, body mass index, and waist circumference to a certain degree. A review showed the impact of alternate day fasting regimes on muscle mass. Some studies showed decreases in muscle mass while others showed no change. Other reviews of weight loss research suggest that in individuals of higher weight, the evidence isn't strong enough to indicate that intermittent fasting is any better at preserving lean muscle than low-calorie diets. I've shared the research in my blog and also left the link for you in the description box. What else do we know? It seems that higher protein intakes and adequate exercise resistance training in particular during intermittent fasting helps to preserve muscle mass. Now, bear in mind, studies do not describe potential changes to lean muscle, which is something we tend to lose with low-calorie diets. So in an ideal world, will intermittent fasting help to preserve lean muscle mass alongside weight loss? The reality is, studies present mixed results for alternate day fasting regimes on muscle mass. Some depict decreases, while others showed no change at all. Does intermittent fasting kill muscle mass? Now, before I answer this question, I'd like to draw attention to why muscle mass is important. Aside from strength, stamina, and mobility, did you know free muscle mass is significant in stopping our metabolic rate from decreasing? In other words, muscle mass helps our metabolisms to work faster. Muscle burns more calories than fat, so the more muscle we have, the higher the metabolic rate. It makes sense then that muscle loss can also slow metabolic rate, which makes it harder to lose weight and easier to gain it back. You may be asking, so does intermittent fasting help in preventing or reducing changes in our resting metabolic rate? The simple answer is that we simply do not have enough evidence to support the notion that intermittent fasting is, in fact, any better than low-calorie diets in preventing or reducing resting metabolic rate. Can intermittent fasting improve blood sugar control? Now, as a certified diabetes educator, I get this one a lot. We know that the key goals for the management of type 2 diabetes are improved blood sugar levels and sensitivity to insulin. The keeping blood sugars in check can also help reduce risk of diabetes-related complications such as cardiovascular diseases, heart disease, heart attack, stroke, blood vessels damage, and more, neuropathy, nerve damage, nephropathy, kidney disease, and retinopathy, eye damage, which may cause loss of vision. Now, weight loss has shown to help improve insulin sensitivity. Because of these reasons, there is a lot of interest in whether intermittent fasting is more effective than typical low-calorie diets. Okay, so research in rodents suggests that intermittent fasting can improve glucose tolerance, which is how well your body handles glucose when you consume foods containing glucose. What's more, animal research indicates that intermittent fasting improves insulin sensitivity as well, which is how sensitive your body is to the action of insulin in controlling your blood sugars. However, studies in humans found that intermittent fasting had similar effects to low-calorie diets in improving blood sugar control. Now, keeping facts and research on intermittent fasting with type 2 diabetes in mind, we may conclude that there is no comprehensive understanding of the safest and most effective intermittent fasting regimes for those with diabetes. It is also essential that ongoing medication adjustments are made for those practicing intermittent fasting for weight loss. First and foremost, if you're taking insulin or insulin secretagogues, i.e. sulfonylureas, and you have hypoglycemia unawareness, you should not try intermittent fasting without appropriate ongoing medical advice and supervision. Intermittent fasting can increase risk of hypoglycemia, which is very low blood sugar levels. Your best bet? Always remember to consult your medical doctor and diabetes care team before embarking on any diet. Does intermittent fasting reduce inflammation? We know that chronic inflammation increases the risk of various diseases and conditions such as heart disease, cancer, and rheumatoid arthritis, to name a few. Now, intermittent fasting does show improvements in inflammatory markers in asthma. Animal studies also depict reductions in inflammatory markers and oxidative stress associated with intermittent fasting. Now, having said that, there is still room for sufficient in-depth research in humans in order to better understand the effects of intermittent fasting on inflammation. What's more, intermittent fasting should be avoided by expectant mothers. It's also best to avoid intermittent fasting if you have a history of disordered eating, as this could exacerbate symptoms. When it comes to other groups, there is scarce evidence in the young, the elderly, and individuals who are underweight. Therefore, intermittent fasting may not be the best option to them for safety concerns. Despite some promising results, current studies limit our understanding of intermittent fasting, and until there is sufficient long-term research, we cannot say with 100% confidence that intermittent fasting leads to any potential benefits in regards to fat loss and blood sugar control. It's important to remember that whilst we may practice intermittent fasting, we must not abandon basic healthy eating principles. Having a timed period for fasting is not the equivalent of overindulging in foods that have little or no nutritional value during feeding hours. This would hinder any intended benefits. I hope I addressed some of your concerns and questions related to intermittent fasting, and this two-part series was helpful. Until next time, my friends, take good care of yourselves. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up or leave me a comment. I'd love to know what nutrition and diet related topics you want me to dive into next. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Now, if you want to be a super subscriber, don't forget to turn on that notification button so you never miss another video.